My name is Reagan, agronomy sales specialist with United Cooperative up in Northeast Wisconsin. We're sitting here today pretty close to the end of May. First cutting of alfalfa is right around the corner. I'd like to take a few minutes to go through some key things to look at when evaluating early season alfalfa stands, and also highlight some important things to keep in mind as we progress through the season here. So the first thing I'm going to look at when evaluating an alfalfa stand is the stem count. The University of Wisconsin recommends using a two-step process to evaluate stands. First, we'll use a stem count to estimate the current yield potential of the field. And then second, after that, we'll assess root and crown health order in order to determine future yield potential. So in order to do this, you're going to need to bring a couple of things to the field with you. We have a cropland alfalfa ring here to help us out today, and we're also brought along a trowel to help us assess root health, and then we also have a pocket knife to help us split the roots. You're going to want to find a spot in the field that accurately represents the field as a whole. Try to avoid parts of the field that look bare or heavily populated. Once you find a representative area, toss the cropland alfalfa ring, and wherever it lands is where you're going to conduct the stand evaluation. So we've tossed the ring, and once we've done that, we're going to count the number of stems within that square foot in order to determine the current yield potential of the stand. Generally, we want to see at least 40 stems within the ring, and as soon as we start seeing less than 40 is when we should start to consider replacing the stand of alfalfa. What we're really looking for is stands with 55 stems and above in order to maximize that yield potential. After we've counted the stems and determined that the stand is acceptable, we've moved right into the second part of the evaluation, and that's root scoring. In order to evaluate the roots effectively, you want to uproot an entire plant with the root system fully intact. Once you've done that, knock off as much loose soil as you can, and then you're going to want to cut directly down the main taproot of the alfalfa plant. Now, what we're looking for in a healthy alfalfa root is tissue that is firm in texture and often white in color. If we cut down the middle and start to feel weak, soft tissue or see brown and black discoloration, that would be a concern for long-term yield potential and overall plant health. So this plant that we have right here looks great. You can see that it has a white color to the taproot, and we're not seeing any cause for concern here. It's white all the way through. So now that we've done the stand evaluation, I want to mention just a few other things to look for when walking alfalfa fields this late spring and into summer. Another thing to watch for in the spring is crown heaving in alfalfa. Crown heaving can occur when alfalfa crowns and roots are forced above the soil surface as a result of freezing and thawing conditions. In severe cases, heaving can cause plant death and may be a cause for stand termination. If you suspect crown heaving in your alfalfa stand, feel free to reach out to your local United Cooperative agronomist to determine whether a stand is acceptable or grounds for termination. Next, I want to go over a few pests to look out for while you're in the field this summer. Armyworms migrate to the Midwest every year, and it's important that we are scouting for them in our alfalfa fields along with other crops. Armyworm damage can be clumped within a field and within a geographical area, so that can become challenging to find sometimes. It's important to keep in mind that numbers of 2 to 3 armyworms per square foot is considered the economic threshold. Some other pests to watch out for this season are potato leafhoppers, alfalfa weevils, and plant bugs. If you suspect heavy insect pressure in any of your fields this summer, make sure to call us out to take a look. We can determine if levels have surpassed economic thresholds and if an application of insecticide is needed. The last thing I want to briefly talk about is managing alfalfa fertility on a year when input costs are higher. It's important to make sure that we are keeping up with soil testing every 4 years minimum. By keeping test results up to date, we as agronomists have a better idea of where your soil's baseline is. It also helps us to understand what nutrients are currently available and what additional fertility you may need to reach yield goals. I know the cost of inputs can play a big role in fertility decisions. 2022 would be a great year to implement a tissue sampling program on your farm. Tissue samples are an inexpensive way to know exactly which nutrients the plants are lacking in season. This, along with soil tests, help us to be able to make game time decisions on if we need additional fertility in season or not. I recommend tissue sampling 1 week before the first cutting, and once again 1 week before the third cutting. This would allow us to tweak fertility recs before an application is made based off of what those plants are telling us. Through the use of soil testing and tissue sampling, we can make more informed decisions when it comes to fertility on your alfalfa acre. Make your money work for you in 2022 and implement tissue sampling to help us shape your fertility needs. So to wrap up today, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you have a safe and healthy 2022 growing season. As always, feel free to reach out to your local United Cooperative agronomist with any questions or concerns, and remember that you can rely on us. Thank you.